right? It could be on the text. To give a discount of 20% on McDonald's, you don't need to go on the internet. You can actually write McDonald's 20% discount. I think it's important that we do not connect these two, otherwise we might just miss a picture. There are 400 million customers who can receive text advertising tomorrow morning.
Correct.
And there is no infrastructure issue there.
Yeah, and I guess each of the mediums have their own draw in terms of what.
And if revenues are coming right now, I think that's the area where the revenues are coming in.
That's the area where whatever mobile advertising revenues are coming from there.
SMS
Yeah, but the only thing is that you need to be a little more creative when it's without pictures.
Absolutely.
I have a question as to
Name and organization, please.
good day everyone, my name is Manan. I got a question like, do you actually see enough money coming in for the content provider? Now, for example, I'll take now in the Western world, there is a huge debate that traditional media is dying. Newspapers are dying, etc., etc. Now, the only way that can happen is if we have content on portable devices like the cell phone. Now, is there enough money for someone like a newspaper to, actually come all the way on the internet and still get revenues now on the internet, on a computer, a website like, if they have their website, they have a 14-inch screen where they can display many ads. But on a device this small, they can't actually show as many advertisements. Now, so is there a block for content providers to come into this space, considering that they won't be getting enough money as much as they might be wanting, they're investing? And as to how long do you see from, let's say today, that the content providers would be very comfortable coming onto mobile phones and not being, pessimistic about the kind of money that they would be making in?
I think as a publisher.
Okay. First thing, newspapers are not dying in India, not as yet. Like in US, UK, we keep on getting, but here they are still growing. Secondly, when you talk of monetizing either our web properties or the mobile properties that we have, it is always in a sort of publishing environment, it is always seen as an extension. It is what your audience, which is already there with you, wants. So it is a question of developing a further touch point with that same audience. So your entire newspaper audience is there. Okay, from there, a portion of that might be coming to your website. Most of your website people would be consuming either on your website, or would be consuming similar or the same content on the handset. Advertising monies are not that bad if you look at it in entirety, because we normally bundle and sell internet with mobile, and it does pay for itself. Right from the initial stages, it does pay for itself. In fact, I think maintaining an internet property is more expensive than maintaining a mobile web property. And there are various modules. There, most of us are experimenting with maybe subscription for certain things. And yes, you cannot send too much of information, but believe me, the message gets communicated very effectively, because as we were discussing, even an SMS, instead of just sending an SMS saying that you have a McDonald's at this kind of a discount, as a publisher you have a distinct advantage. You can sell news which that person wants, and the ad gets read, seen in that context, which is not available for other people who might be just trying to push advertising or trying to push, maybe a real estate property, etc. It's always contextual. So news and information which a consumer is anyway consuming otherwise on his handset, and along with that, when you send advertising, it's very effective.
I think it's forcing publishers to look at packaging new products, which is kind of the concept.
But one of the problems that is there in the US, when the circulation came down and web took over, all the publishers actually got excited because they started saving money on circulation. And now it's a chicken and egg situation for them. They're losing money because whilst their total viewership has gone up or readership has gone up, okay, they're not able to monetize the net the way they used to monetize the paper. Look at Times of India today. I mean, a half-page ad in Times of India will cost you a fortune. Okay.
There's a reason for that, Raj. I just add that perspective.
Except for WSJ maybe.
So I've lived in that space some time. The real reason to that, the problem that you're posing, is that you go to the same brand manager and say, okay, here is a newspaper, yeah, and you have a campaign coming up, here is a newspaper, and then the same newspaper has a website. The moment you talk to him about a website, he's not willing to see that as a medium for reach. He sees the newspaper as a medium for reach, right? Whereas if you go online and say, okay, newspaper has X million circulation, this has some targeted but niche specific audiences I can reach, because it's so finely diced, and the problem is that the people who are selling the medium are also to blame, because they have gone and taken what I would say an easy route out of this, because they were in a position to commit analytics to an extent which said, okay, you want to reach this guy at this point of the day, I'll tell you what to do with him. And the expectation from the advertiser is that it's a direct medium, it's a direct marketing medium. It's not a reach medium, right? So therefore, if you look at one of the surveys that I just saw, of the top 500 brand managers in this country who spend crores of rupees, 46% of them use online or digital only for generating leads. So what do? Okay, the agency people will come and negotiate a fantastic rate on behalf of the client because that's their job. The online media, which is struggling, wants to sell millions of their, page views, which is not, easy to do because they're generating it by the tons. So what do you do with so much inventory? So if there is any monetization on the table, they will take it. Okay, that's the true picture of the industry. And since the brand manager has got a fantastic rate and doesn't have any upper limit on the exposure, he doesn't lose out on anything. And if he pays 5 rupees a lead and has allocated, say, 1 crore for that campaign, he has more leads than he can handle. So he doesn't need to do anything more on the medium. So that's where the real picture is, and that's why even if you get more exposure on online, print will not die for a long time because it's still seen as a reach medium. So you get your dollars from there. So for an ad agency, it makes perfect sense to push print or TV for that matter, but not online or digital because it's been sold very wrongly. That's the true answer.
And I have an interesting anecdote to add, which I think Raj will agree, that in all my entire career with print and then now online, I have never been asked by a agency or somebody who's advertised with us, like, did this ad actually convert into leads? But the minute an online campaign starts, they all start calling up. We are not getting leads. We just got 2 leads. We just got 5 leads. Like, the payouts on the print are huge, and we never get questioned about leads. And on online, it's a daily conversation.
No, I would want to answer the question the other way around. I think the reason you don't have a model is because, as you just said, this is an extension of another medium, right? So let's flip the question. Suppose I didn't own the Hindustan Times and I was launching abc.com news and I didn't have a mother newspaper. How would I charge for it? And I think that's the other question that Raj raised. In the US and nowhere in the world, because your newspaper used to cost you money, you then put it online, you gave it free to the world, now you want to monetize it because your newspaper is dying and the consumers should get lost, right? So there is no model to monetize the news, and that's why newspapers are dying, not for anything else. Because I just want to read the newspaper. I get it on my Kindle, I get it on my BlackBerry, but I get it free. And that's what the newspaper industry doesn't know what to do with, right? But it's coming from the perspective of a newspaper industry having been a newspaper industry. Tomorrow morning, if you didn't have a newspaper industry and you were launching an online news channel, how would you make that relevant and how would you monetize that? I think that's the fundamental question. And if you can do that, then you won't have the baggage of saying to brand managers who would say, oh, this is Hindustan Times, this is, take one more freebie, because in effect, that's what's going to happen. And it's sad because accountability is higher online than it is offline, right? And I think that's the whole perspective, that you cannot, there's nobody who's figured out how to monetize things.